G'day, guys. Many people, particularly internationals, are leaving or planning to leave Germany. I get it. Once an economic powerhouse, Germany is struggling to keep up with the digital age. High taxes continue to squeeze the working class. It doesn't encourage innovation or creativity. And it's about as friendly as the high school bully who kneed me in the nuts. That being said, it's a place I'm proud to call home, and I ain't going anywhere. This video is inspired by another video titled Why I'm Leaving Germany, Broken System and Future Risks. The creator there does an awesome job of summarizing where Germany is at, particularly economically. The scary thing is he is a German business consultant. My perspective is a bit different as I'm an Australian creative who has moved to Germany. Often when I tell people outside Germany I'm an Australian living in Germany, they say, "Oh, I love Australia," and Germany gets a pass. Germans, on the other hand, ask me why the heck I would leave the dreamland to live here. I remind them that home is where the heart is, and my heart is here. I get it, Germany's not that inviting, but for me, it's more about people and place. And I believe it doesn't matter where you are, you have to find your own peace. Germany was never on my radar. I left Australia in a rock band, went to London, met my ex, moved to Germany 13 years ago and had my son. When the relationship ended, I chose to stay here to be the best father I could be. It was a bonus that Hamburg is a city with a punk rock heart that I'd grown to love and wanted to be in. I now have a healthy, modern patchwork family, but building a life here hasn't been without its fair share of challenges. When I first came here, I did over 200 job applications to get a 1-month contract in an architecture office for an income that was barely enough to pay the rent. My German was an issue, but I was learning, and the assumption from employees was that as an Australian, I'd leave, and many of my friends did. I couldn't get an apartment for months and moved fridges for cash while pursuing a creative career. I even had a stint in a Berlin startup where the rooftop yoga and free coffee was amazing until I got fired. Despite its reputation, Germany isn't that efficient. Its bureaucratic processes are heavier than the concrete bunkers that still exist here that are too heavy to knock down. The paperwork is suffocating, and if you tick the wrong box, the authorities come down hard. During the pandemic, as a freelancer, I was struggling to stay on top of health insurance payments, so I communicated this to the health insurance people, and they responded by sending a debt collector to my door. I felt embarrassed and a little bit ashamed. It was even more awkward when I ran into him at the supermarket checkout a couple of days later. It always happens at the supermarket. The job centre sent me to the most unmotivational course I've ever experienced. It was merely to remove me from the unemployment statistics. When I said I wanted to start my own business, they showed me a presentation of factory workers from the 1920s. The taxes are high and you can even get insurance for your cat, but I see how clean the streets are, the roads are maintained, the rubbish is always collected. But if you put a package in the wrong bin or you laugh too loudly on a Sunday, you might receive an official warning letter. I didn't flee a war-torn country. I came here on a plane. My circumstances are pretty good. I still have days where even the simple things are exhausting, like trying to find the @ symbol on a German keyboard or explaining on the phone for 10 minutes that Thomas is my surname and not my first name. Sometimes I just want to throw in the towel, but resilience sees me through and my family is my grounding force. Seeing my son, who is bilingual, thrive is the most rewarding thing to me, and a big factor in his future is that education is free. In Australia, I racked up thousands in student debt for an architecture degree I don't even use anymore. For me, it's about continuing to work toward a place where I actually have some agency and am not just a puppet to a broken system, which is a worldwide issue. How does that look? When my son's art teacher tells him it's impossible to make a career out of art, which actually happened, I tell him otherwise. When I apply for the artists' union 6 times and get rejected, I apply 7. When the schooling system is prehistoric, I start a workshop giving kids a voice through podcasting. I'm essentially trying to sit as independently as I can within the system. Nowhere is perfect. There's pros and cons to everywhere. I don't believe we're limited by the circumstances we're in, and that includes place. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. The only guarantee is that nothing stays the same, and being adaptable is a big part of that. If you have ever lived in Germany or you currently live here and are thinking of leaving or staying, I'd appreciate hearing from you in the comments. I also write on Substack on a publication called Fade to Now. Thank you so much, guys. Till next time.